And welcome to the Culture Bunker. Now today we're going to look at something which is quite a controversial subject in the media, but it's a big one. It's always the elephant in the room, and that is class bias. Now, luckily or unluckily for me, many moons ago when I first started working on a show called The Word on Channel 4, I was from a stolidly working class background, surrounded by public school boys. In fact, my big boss, the commissioning editor at Channel 4 at the time, who commissioned The Word, Stephen Garrett, was ex-public school. Stonyhurst College he went to. Now, the problem with Stephen Garrett is he just didn't like me, didn't really get me. And what he did was he actually defamed me throughout the industry by talking about the time that I interviewed Whitney Houston. And apparently, Whitney Houston told me that she had a gun in the glove compartment of her car, and according to Stephen Garrett's story, which was published in the Mail on Saturday magazine, my next question was, so Whitney, when is your album coming out? Now that's fine, I just dismissed it at the time because obviously with the northern accent, it was almost as if you were thick anyway. That's what you were branded for like 5 years, you were thick. Northern accents and nipples belonged after the watershed and should never be spoken about. Now, unfortunately for me, this kind of reputation costs you work, and it didn't help that kind of comedian Rory Bremner, have you ever heard of him, did a terrible impersonation of me. Actually, for 5 years, told this story in his stand-up routine. But Terry Christian, he was so thick. I remember him interviewing Whitney Houston, and Whitney Houston said she kept a gun in the glove compartment of her car, and Terry's next question was, when is your album out? Now, the reason I knew that wasn't true was, first of all, I'm not that stupid. Secondly, I've got a lot of the same mates that I've had since I was 5 and 6 years of age, and a big family too. And believe me, had I made an obvious cock-up like that on live TV, I would never have heard the last of it in the pub. You know, they would still be talking about that now. And the fact is, they never did. So this is actually what happened. Now, what was interesting to me was the fallout from this was I actually sent this to Stephen Garrett. I even spoke to the woman, Chrissy Eiley, who wrote the article for the Daily Mail, and I said, had I said something as defamatory about public school boy Stephen Garrett, the big boss one of the big bosses at Channel 4, she'd have double checked to see if it was true. And all that would have meant is, oh, could I have that tape of when Terry interviewed Whitney Houston, because it was a big show. It was show 12, the very first show we did of The Word, when it went out at 11 o'clock at night instead of 6 in the evening. So here it is, me and Whitney Houston. Now, to give you the context, The Word was a mixture of pre-recorded and live. The show was actually live, but we'd have pre-recorded, you know, taped inserts and interviews. And I was interviewing the American actress Sybil Shepherd in Toronto, and I was talking to her about when she used to be Elvis Presley's girlfriend. And very amusing. And she said, well, the thing is, I don't know how any human being could cope with that level of fame that Elvis Presley had. And then she put this addition in. She said, in fact, ever since what happened to John Lennon has happened, I've always kept a .38 Smith & Wesson in the glove compartment of my car. And I kind of gave it the arched eyebrow. And then she went, you know, into a kind of thing about, you know, until women can learn to use the weapons of men, etc., etc. We come straight out of that interview, and here's my first question to Whitney Houston. And the follow-up certainly wasn't, so when's your album coming out?
Okay. Well, I don't want any women using my weapon to defend themselves. Have you got a gun at home, Whitney?
A gun? Nah. Don't need a gun.
No, they're terrible things.
No, I don't carry guns. Don't keep them around my house. No, I just keep the light of God around me. He protects me. I'll be all right.
Don't stop again.
Praise the Lord.
So there you go. These myths are created, these lies are told, and I think it's a kind of a public school thing. They want control, and if they don't feel they're controlling you, they will set out to destroy your career or anything else. And that's my warning to anybody who's working class, obviously working class, working in the media. So yes, there you go. Apparently that went around for 5 years. So, Whitney Houston told Terry she kept a gun in the glove compartment of her car. His next question is, when's the album out? And yeah, absolutely ridiculous really. Anti-working class, anti-northern. Has anything changed? Who knows?